changing lives.
Losing a husband is one of the most devastating things that could happen to any woman. I can't even begin to imagine how you would put yourself together, survive such a traumatic experience, and try to move on with your life. Just that alone is so heartbreaking. But imagine you're going through this very painful experience, thinking that the people that would support you most, the people that will create a safe space for you most, are the people that will add to your pain, your family and your husband's family. Imagine going through the death of a husband and having your own family betraying you in the most painful way, having your husband's family coming into the picture, thinking they would help support, but they come with more pain, with a sad one for every woman, a sad one for the society at large. And we are going to make sure that we provide comfort, we provide solution, and we provide what the law says you should do in this situation. My name is Evie, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk here at the studios of Hope TV Ghana. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, Hope TV Ghana. So please make sure you leave your comments under the comment section throughout the conversation. We are going to go into the story, but before we do that, obviously I do not have this conversation alone by myself, because I need real people to have the real conversation, and I need expertise to provide the solid solution that you need for the story and for any other stories that we have in the studios of Hope TV Ghana. And as usual, we always make it Christ-centered, because after all, this is a Christian channel. So I'll go straight ahead and introduce my guest to you. She's no stranger. She's been in the studios of Hope TV before, and especially on the show Real Talk. I call her my residence lawyer. Anytime I need anything that has to do with the law, that has to do with legal advice, she is the person I go to. This is no other person than my own person, Jacqueline Asante Mensah. Jackie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Evie. It's great to be back.
It is, right? It's been a while.
Yes, it's been a while.
I don't think the whole of last year we did not. No. So it's good to have you in the studio once again.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Jackie, I know you're a lawyer. I know you have your own firm. You are with the Asante Mensah and Associates. You're a managing partner.
Yes.
Yes. And so I know you've been doing this for over 10 years.
Yes.
And so you have, yes, I have all the information. And so you have the knowledge to give us today. And I'm sure you've heard the story. You've probably read it.
Yes.
And like I said, it's very heartbreaking. I'll go into the story so that we can have the conversation. So let me just read the story. Then we'll go on a break and then dive into the conversation. It says, a widow's betrayal. Evie, I am at my breaking point. I need advice before I lose my mind completely. I married my husband when I was young and full of dreams. He was ambitious, hardworking, and loved me deeply. He had a son from a previous relationship, but they were no longer together. When he asked me to marry him, I didn't hesitate. I believed in our love. He was a lecturer, always traveling, sometimes home once a week, sometimes every 2 weeks. I understood. In his absence, I worked hard, selling pastries and donuts to support our home. For nearly 10 years, I prayed for a child. Then God finally smiled on us. I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Our joy was complete. Before my daughter came, I had raised my husband's son as my own, and we lived in a peaceful home full of love and laughter. I wasn't just a wife. I was a pillar in my family. My siblings, my parents, they all relied on me. With my little earnings, I paid school fees, put food on the table, clothed them. And when my husband saw how much I sacrificed for my family, he also supported me. He even gave me money to open a shop, and I trusted no one more than my younger brother to run it. But that's not all. One day, my younger brother, came to me with an idea. Let's build a house in the city, he said. That way, our aging parents can live comfortably in Accra. And later, we can even rent it out for income. It made sense, and in my heart, I thought, after we finish, I'll finally tell my husband about the surprise. He will be so proud of me. So I did the unthinkable. I took money from my business, money from my husband's support, and I gave it to my brother to build a home. We had a plan, a dream, and it was supposed to be a secret until the day I could finally show my husband what I had done. Then disaster struck. My husband fell seriously ill. We tried everything, hospitals, treatments, prayers, but nothing worked. In desperation, we left Accra for the village, hoping for a miracle through traditional medicine. But there was no miracle. My husband died. Just like that, my world collapsed. After the funeral, I returned to Accra with my 2 children. But everything felt wrong. The house my husband and I lived in felt too big, too empty. Every corner reminded me of him. Some nights I would wake up and expect to see him there, only to be crushed by the reality that he was gone. My younger brother and my parents saw my pain and said to me, "Come and stay with us for now. You're a widow. You need support. Living with us will help you recover." It made sense. I was grieving, exhausted, and lost. Moving in with family felt like the safest option. I thought I would have time to heal, to figure out my next steps. I was wrong. At first, my brother was welcoming. He assured me I had nothing to worry about, but little by little, his tone changed. First, it was small complaints about how I was still in his house, how I wasn't contributing financially. Then the insult started. One day, as I was cooking, he walked up to me and said the words that shattered me. "You need to leave my house. You are cursed. You killed your husband." Evie, my blood froze. This was my own brother, the same boy I fed, clothed, sent to school, the same brother I trusted with my business, my money, my heart. I reminded him of everything I had done for him. Do you know what he said? "I have taken care of you enough since your husband died. That alone has paid for all your past kindness." As if my sacrifices were just a loan he had now cleared. As I prepared to leave his house, I thought of the only other place I could go, the house I had built with my husband. Then I discovered something that destroyed me completely. The house I had secretly helped my brother build, the one that was supposed to be for our aging parents, was never built. The money was gone. I confronted him, shaking with rage. He didn't even deny it. He only laughed and said, "You're a woman. What do you need a house for? You already have one. I needed money to sort myself out." Evie, my own blood has erased me, and I had no fight left in me. But my suffering wasn't over yet. Since I had nowhere else to go, I returned to the house my husband and I shared. I thought at least I still have this. I was wrong. One day, my husband's family came to visit. But they didn't come to check on me. They came with a message. "This house belongs to his first son. You are just a woman. You have no place here." Evie, my heart stopped. Did I not build this house with my husband? Did my years of love and sacrifice mean nothing? Was my daughter not his blood? Am I being erased, Evie? I am being pushed aside, as if I never existed. I need help. I need justice. I need to reclaim what is rightfully mine. Tell me what to do. Where do I go from here? So clearly, this woman was going through her pain of losing her husband. Her brother that she was working with, doing a business with, giving money to build a house for their parents, decides, "Come and live with me. It will be better." She goes to live with him. Weeks, months down the line, he says, "You know what? You've lived here enough. You should go." So she goes on to ask, "Where's our money for the parents' house since the house is not built?" He says, "I have used it." She goes home to her old house where she lived with her husband before he died sadly. And her husband's family comes to say, "This house is not for you, it's for the son." of your dead husband, the one that you raised, the one that you accepted to raise, the one you welcomed into your matrimonial home. This house is for him. Meanwhile, she builds the house with her husband. What happens to her? What happens to her daughter? Does the daughter cease to be her husband's child? Is it just the birthright of a son to get the properties owned by their father? There are so many parts of this story that is very frustrating, but we want to go ahead and then I'll ask. Jackie, I'll ask for your take on the story generally. And then my main question to you would have to be, what legal rights does she have? Because you can hear she's saying, I need justice. Now, legal rights in the sense of, for this house that she lives in with her child, can the man's family take it, even if the man died without a will? And then the money that her brother took, saying that he's going to build, can she get it back? Like, what are her options here?
Okay, so my initial take on the story is that it's quite sad, but unfortunately, it's a very common occurrence.
Yeah.
And this kind of situation has existed for years. You know, it is unfortunate that despite how far the world has gone, we still have families who are putting widows through all these issues. There are other places where widows are even pushed through certain widowhood rights, which can be very inhumane. You know, I know that some still exist in some rural parts of the country. Some people still do it. So this kind of situation, it's very sad. It shouldn't even happen.
Yeah.
Especially in this country called Ghana, where we are very religious. You know, more than half of us are Christians, the other half are Muslims, and so on and so forth. But we have this happening, and so it is unfortunate, but it is not uncommon. It's a regular thing. I have even dealt with some of these cases in my practice.
Okay.
Yes, so it's very common.
Okay.
So regarding she wanting justice, let's take the first one, her rights as a widow. So it is because of this situation that PNDC Law 111 was enacted. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about PNDC Law 111 years. It is a law that was enacted to see to some of these issues that happen to widows, especially after the demise of their partners. So the law is there. That particular law is there to protect her rights as a widow. So the first thing is that nobody has the right to evict her from her matrimonial home. Okay. Nobody has that right to evict her from her matrimonial home, especially when there is a will, or even if there is no will, or especially where the court has not come in to grant letters of administration to somebody, or whatever the case may be. Nobody has a right, whether it's the father of the deceased person, the head of family, you know, no matter who you are, you cannot evict the widow from the matrimonial home just because the husband is dead. She has a right to remain there once the husband is dead. And that is even before any distribution of any property. So in most cases, when there is no will, and I'm sure I am presuming in this particular case there is no will, because she never mentioned it. So let's just give that presumption. When there is no will and there is one house, the surviving spouse, who is the widow, and a child or children are entitled to that solely. Okay. That one house, whether it's a 4-story building, whether it's a 30-bedroom house, whether it is a chamber and hall, single room, whether it is uncompleted house, whatever the nature of that property is, it belongs to the widow and the child or children solely.
Okay.
If there is no child, it belongs to the widow.
Okay.
If there is no widow, it belongs to the child. But where both of them exist, it belongs to them.
So here, child or children means biological,
adopted children. Because once you adopt a child, you go through the legal processes that makes the child yours. So the child is yours. It doesn't matter that you didn't birth the child,
right?
But the child is yours. You can even change the name of the child. So such a child is entitled. A child who is born within the marriage is entitled. Children born out of wedlock are entitled. So in this case, the child that the husband had before he married her is entitled. Her child that she had in the marriage is entitled, and then herself. Those are the people that are considered as the widow, and then the children. In her case. So she's entitled. If it is one house, she's entitled. If it is more than one house, maybe 3 houses, then they would have to decide among themselves who takes which house.
Okay, amongst the 3 people in this story, the wife, the daughter, and then the son.
Yes, for example, if it is 3 houses, then they can decide, okay, mommy takes this, then you will take this, your sister will take this. And then they are also entitled to household chattels. So the things in the house, there's been instances where some of the relatives will come, they will just pick TV,
car,
then, or they will demand the clothes of the man, maybe his collection of books, his collection of paintings, you know, other household items, under the presumption that it is for the man. But those are all part of the household chattels. Some can even take utensils and everything. And everything, yes. You know, but all that forms part of the household chattels, and so it should be left with the widow and then the children. If there are other residuary properties, those ones, that same law allows the family to get a portion, then the wife and children will also get another portion of the residuary, and then the surviving parents will also get another portion. So there is a way that
it's a shared.
Yes, it's a shared. But where there is only one house, only one property, you know, landed property involved, we want the widow and then the children to be at peace. And so they are entitled to it as tenants in common. If we say tenants in common, they have like an equal share in it. Yes. You know. And so everybody has their distinctive portion, although we are owning it together. But then if we are 3, then maybe I own 1/3, you also have 1/3, you know, that kind of thing.
That makes sense. Just for that rare situation where a child will decide to say, a child that is of legal age will decide to say, give me my portion and let me go. It makes it maybe easy to figure out how to share. That makes a lot of sense. But let's look at protecting ourselves as women.
Wait, I think we didn't speak on the brother's issue.
Oh, the money.
Regarding the money, let me just quickly comment on that. So what the brother has done constitutes a criminal offense. I'll put it under fraudulent misrepresentation. You've given your sister an impression that you are building a house. So she brings the money for you to build the house. You are seeing to it, like the foreman or the person in charge. Then after a number of years, she realizes that there is no house. The house doesn't exist. So you have defrauded her. That is the situation. So it is a serious offense. It's a criminal offense. And then if she wants to take steps in that direction, she can report the brother and he can be prosecuted. Yes, for that. Yes.
So at least that is an option. If she wants to take it, that's an option she should take. And the brother shouldn't sit down thinking he's gotten away with stealing her
because
money.
They had a very clear understanding or an agreement. You know, it's not all agreements that are written. Some are verbal, and especially for
family members.
You know, family members, arm's length kind of transaction or agreement. It is expected that you may not put pen and paper to it.
Yeah.
But whatever you agree on, to let the other person rely on whatever the agreement is, you know, and actually give her money. It is binding.
Yeah.
Yes, it's binding.
Yeah. So in this case where the woman said she supported the home, she was working and she brought money, she took care of the house. Somebody would say, we all don't know when somebody will die. Our prayer is that we live till the years that we want to live on this world.
Grow old.
Grow old, yes, that's the prayer. But life happens. People die unexpectedly, just as this case. Somebody will sit down and say, oh, she should have protected herself. She should have made sure that she had some form of protection so that people cannot come in and say, give me that. How can women protect their financial and property interest in marriage? Should they insist on wills? But you know, our parts of, even our parents that are old, my daddy that's in his like 70s, late 70s. The mention of will, they look at you like, this child, you want to kill me, like you're in a hurry for me to die. We are not very comfortable with that conversation. So how could she have protected her financial and property like rights in the marriage?
Okay, so I think that the first thing is that women should not go into marriage thinking that they can't bring anything to the table and they themselves cannot make something out of life for themselves.
Okay.
More often than not, once marriage comes in, a lot of women will just relax because the husband is probably at the forefront of provision.
Yes.
And so they relax, forgetting that, as you said, life happens, anything can happen. And even you as an individual, apart from the marriage, what else do you want to achieve in life? Don't you want to be independent? Don't you want to have your own money? What if your husband goes into some financial difficulty? Are you able to cough up some money and say, oh, this is from my savings, this is from my little business, I think that, you know, you should take this and work with it. So the first thing is that women should have that mindset that whether there is marriage or not, because in some marriages the men don't even provide or they are unable. You know, so you should have that mindset of, as an individual, I want to be able to be financially independent out of my marriage, you know. And so every woman should go into marriage with that thinking. So you must put your hands to work, whether it is a profession, whether it is something you are doing with your hands, whether it is a business on the side. Make it a point to be doing something. That is the first step of protecting yourself financially, because if you are not doing anything to get anything and you are relying on the man, what if at the time of death the man had nothing in his account? What are you going to do? So make sure you work, whether you have children or not. Maybe because of the children you are unable to, you know, pursue a certain career that will take a lot of your time, but do something. Even if your husband is rich, do something. Have your own accounts, have your own savings, have your own money, something that is bringing you, you know, money, so you can save and be financially independent to some extent, even if your husband is rich.
And I think to that point, even if your husband is rich and he get some sort of allowance that you will save.
You will save, yes, it is important. You cannot, in today's day and age, you cannot live and be oblivious of what your financial status is or where you are going to get some emergency funds from. It is not safe. It's the first step to pushing yourself into this kind of a situation. So that is the first step. And then the second step is that in marriage, you may choose to have joint accounts. That is your choice. You are not under compulsion to have a joint account with your partner. But even if you have a joint account, make sure you still have your separate accounts.
Yes. The joint account can be for the household and the
running of the home. But make sure you still have your separate savings, that you are saving money into it. This is not, I think a lot of people get the notion that when a woman does that, then maybe she's being selfish. No, that is not it. That is not it at all. In fact, it is important if a woman has money.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they are home with the children. If there is an emergency, and let's say you are out of the country and you cannot be reached, would you prefer that your wife waits for you to come home to give you money? Let's say a child is sick while the child is dying.
Yeah.
Or would you rather be happy to have a proactive woman who is capable of taking care of issues?
Yeah.
So she quickly takes the child to the hospital because she has her own private,
yeah.
Money somewhere. Yeah. A joint account would require the signatures of both of you.
Yeah.
So if you are not there, she may not be able to go and withdraw.
Yeah.
You understand? So you should have something there, no matter what. You know, women, never let anybody tell you that you can't have your own or it is wrong. No, there is nothing wrong with it. As Christians, we've seen that women in the Bible worked hard with their hands. Even Jesus' ministries were sponsored by women.
Yeah,
they were sponsored by women.
I agree. And talking about joint accounts, I have a joint account with my husband, and I have my individual account. He has his individual account. And even with our joint accounts, I can take money whenever, and he can take. I don't need his signature. He doesn't need the two of us. You know, there has to be some sort of transparency.
That is the sort of, yes. But for most people,
somebody is afraid. No, even that is a problem. Someone is afraid that somebody will take all the money and run away. You know, so you have to make sure that your foundation is even solid.
Yes,
before all these things happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But
and then also with the properties, make sure that your name is on the deed. I cannot emphasize this enough. Make sure. There are a lot of women who would be involved in acquisition of property. They know about it, they've gone to see it, but they have not seen the land, the documents covering the property before. They've never requested to see it. Some have even put up money into it, but they just don't want to, because they feel as though, oh, if I ask him about it, he would think I am being greedy.
But why would your husband think you're being greedy when you ask about a property?
It is your right, because you are in the marriage together, and every property that is acquired during marriage is for both of you. So you should know it. You should see the document. You should have cited it, so that if there are any issues with it, you make sure that it is corrected.
Yeah.
If the man wants to gift you something, make sure it has been transferred into your name.
Like
fully.
A car. Let's say he buys a car and he says, this is for you.
Yes.
The car,
but
the deed should be in your name.
Of course. You fill a new transfer form from C, and then your name should be on it.
Right.
Because you don't want it to go to court where we are now trying to decipher whether it is one of the pool of cars you were entitled to use.
Yeah.
Or it was actually gifted to you. If something is gifted to you, it doesn't form part of the communal property anymore.
For you.
It is yours. So if it's a car, it should be your name on it and not his name or his child's name.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to do that. Let's put the house in our child's name, you know, who is even underage.
Yeah.
Just put it in your wife's name. If you know you want to gift her anything,
and if
put
anything
it
happens,
in your,
your child will get it.
If anything happens, pardon?
If anything should happen, the child will get.
Yes, like eventually. So make sure your wife is protected, is comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, there is nothing wrong with that.
I think one of the things that we don't talk about enough has to do with being with people that we don't even trust. I think that's where it stems from. Yes. Because if you've married somebody that you trust enough to birth your children, yet you do not trust them enough to be in charge of the properties when you are not there.
Yes.
Then why are you with a person? It doesn't sit well with me, because if you can choose a woman or a man and say that this is the person I want to do life with, this is the person I am comfortable being the mother of my children, out of everybody that you met, this is the person but then when it comes to property, all of a sudden the person is not fit to be in charge of the property. Why? It really baffles my mind. It's the strangest things with human beings. It doesn't, I don't know. Anyway.
I think sometimes it stems from the reason why people get married or their idea of what marriage should be.
Yeah.
If I just married because I just want somebody to give me children, cook and clean for me, you know, I don't really care about the nitty-gritties of having a great relationship in the marriage.
Yeah.
So I don't even think about building trust.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I am an individual in the marriage. You
Yeah.
would not know anything about my property.
Now, talking about putting names on the document.
Yes.
I heard this very funny story that the person said, even with the name, make sure it is not Mr. and Mrs.
Mr. No.
So and so. Because he can marry again and that person
also qualifies.
Oh, so that is true.
Mrs.
So it would have to be like your name.
Your
Mr.
name.
So and so.
So and Mrs. Evelyn. Yes. Yeah. It should be there.
Okay.
It should be there.
So that even if he gets married to another person, that person is not Mrs. Evelyn, whatever.
Yes.
That makes sense. You know, we are learning a lot.
It should be very clear.
Very, very clear. Yes. Okay, under discussion of what's it called, widow's rights, I want us to tackle the last question before we move on.
Okay.
What legal steps can she take to reclaim? We mentioned going to court with her brother.
Yes.
But in this case where the family is forcing, what legal rights steps can she claim to get her property? Where does she go? Who does she talk to? So the family knows that she's protected.
Okay, so she can tackle it in two ways.
Okay.
There is the criminal procedure path, and then there is also the other path, which I would talk about. So the criminal aspect, since it is an offense for you to evict a widow from her house,
okay,
he should report the matter to the police.
Okay.
That this is the situation. They will definitely ask for maybe the death certificate of the husband. You know, those kind of little proof that is true, you know, and you are living here and blah, blah, blah. Write a statement and let them commence criminal investigations. They will call the relatives. And for some of them, since they are afraid of being involved in, you know, police issues, as soon as you call them, sometimes the issue is put to rest there.
Yeah.
And then they, you know, they
leave
her alone, because you can be fined if you are found guilty of that offense.
Okay.
You can be fined. You can also be jailed for up to 1 year.
I see.
Yes. So she can take that route. As for going to the police station, just be bold, walk to the police station and then say that you want to make a formal complaint. You were a widow, this is it. They will let you write out your statement and everything. Then we can also go the civil way. Okay, so with the civil way, she needs to find a lawyer, ASAP. Find a lawyer. Your lawyer would initially write to your family, notifying them of the fact that this is the position of the law.
Okay.
You are the rightful occupant of that property, and so they cannot evict you.
Okay.
And so they should put a stop to it.
Okay.
Now, if the lawyer writes to them and they do not follow through, then you can sue them.
Okay.
Because they might be causing you some emotional trauma, because you're probably still grieving your husband. They are causing you emotional trauma and all that. So you can sue them, so that the courts would give an order that would prohibit them from even coming close to your house.
Okay.
Or trying to evict you or anything. So she can go the criminal route or go the civil route. Once she sees the lawyer, if maybe the husband didn't have a will, as we have presumed, then they can work on getting the letters of administration, so that they can administer the rest of his properties. Because usually when they start with move out of the house, they just want you out of that comfort zone, so that they can have and other things. They really don't want the house for the boy. It's not about the boy.
It's very suspicious, isn't it?
It is not about the boy. The boy is just a pawn in the whole scheme. You know, because if the head of family is behind the boy, if the boy is made to think that the family is behind him, he would allow them to lead the process. And what happens is that they take over, and now the boy can't even talk. He's definitely been, if the boy is involved, he's definitely being ill-advised by the family based on their own preconceived ideas that they have. So she should either take the civil route or the criminal route.
Okay,
yes.
okay. It's good to know that she has options. We'll have to go for a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk about cultural differences or expectations and gender discrimination. We'll be right back. Do not go anywhere. This is Real Talk.
Foundation present Single Summit 2025 on the 1st of May 2025 at the National Theatre at exactly 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. The facilitators are Mrs. Akosia Ago Abuaje, a broadcast journalist. She will dissect building your communication skills. Chaplain Kenopi K. Ndiodu, who is a pastor, he will also dissect how to live a chaste life. Professor Mrs. Stella Apia will also help you to choose God's ideal for marriage. Dr. Morris Mensah, naturopath, will also help you to take care of your health. For more enquiries, call 024-669-5754. You can also dial *447 *714#. Ticket code is HV. Single Summit 2025. Remember, it's 1st May 2025 at the National Theatre at exactly 12 p.m. The rate is 100 Ghana cedis only. See you there.
Welcome back from that quick break. We are still in the studios of Hope TV Ghana, coming your way with Real Talk. My name is Evie, and I have been doing this with lawyer Jacqueline Asante Mensah. I never call her that. It sounds so weird today, but she's a lawyer by profession. 10 years at the bar, so all honor is due her. Lawyer Asante Mensah. But I'm so far be talking about this very sad story of a widow who lost her husband suddenly, and her husband's family is being difficult, trying to take away the home that she built with her husband and going to give it to his son, the one that he had before they got married, even though she also has a child, a daughter. And her brother too has gone ahead to be just a thorn in her flesh by spending or misusing the money that she gave him to build a house for their parents. He didn't build a house, and he has used the money, and he is refusing to acknowledge that he has to give her back her money, or even some of the money. He's just saying that, I mean, she's a woman and does not need a home. And can you imagine? That boy just gets on my nerves. Anyway, I want to say that if you have questions regarding this, this topic, legal questions, you can reach us on 0559680066. So that's 0559680066. You can also reach us on this number if you want to talk to lawyer Jackie, and she will be available for you. But before we went on the break, we wanted to discuss cultural expectations and gender discrimination. Clearly, the family is trying to say that the property you live in is for the man's son. And she also has a child with her husband, who is a daughter. What about her daughter? Okay, let's say she's even going to take herself out of the story. The man has 2 children. Why are we giving the property to just the boy? Is it because we think that boys deserve what? Boys are what? The ones that are supposed to take over their father's property? What about girls? Are we not children as well? You know, is that the issue here? So Jackie, my question to you is that when it comes to Ghanaian families, I'll speak about our culture. We still believe that women cannot inherit properties. And even if there should be any form of inheritance, it should go to the male child.
Yes.
And her brother even made that comment. You're a woman. What do you need a house for? After all, you have one from your husband. As if we can't own properties, as if we can't build and own properties. There's always that notion that, oh, or your bar, women do not need to own property. That's why some will say we'll put it in the name of our child, our first child. Even if they are girls, they'll say, oh, let's give it to the boy. He will take care of his sisters. As if the boy, some may even be younger. Oh, when we give it to him, you manage it and take care of his sisters. The sisters will go and marry. As if the boy will not also marry and share that with his wife as well, somebody's daughter. You know, it's just very, very ridiculous when you think about it. But what in your opinion, clearly this is not the law, but in your opinion, as a woman as well, Why do you think we perpetuate this misconception, this lie that women cannot own properties?
Well, it's patriarchy. So patriarchy has allowed women to be down there, while men are deemed as superior, more human than women. Women are supposed to be the surplus, the property of the man, an extension of the image of the man. You know, the woman is always supposed to come second. So in Africa, largely, even in the world, there is still patriarchy, but in Africa, okay, patriarchy reigns here. And the male species is deemed as superior. They are entitled to own this. They are more intelligent than women. That is the presumption. And so a woman cannot handle a business. A woman cannot own property because she wouldn't know how to, you know, even handle the property, you know, all that, you know, which is not the facts. That is not the facts. In our country, for instance, the Constitution allows anyone to be able to own property, whether male or female. You have a right, as long as you are doing it through the right way. You know, you are not stealing, but you know, you have a right to acquire property, whether you are male, whether you are female. So, you know, we should not look at, and the Constitution is above all of our tribal beliefs and cultural beliefs, and this is how we do it, this is how we do our thing here, this is how our ancestors have been doing it. You are still within the boundaries of Ghana, and the Constitution is supreme. So I think we have to gradually disabuse our minds of that and start seeing, you know, women and men as the same people. We might be different, you know, physiologically, and then yes, and in some aspects, but God gave us the same brains. We all have 2 hands, 2 legs, 1 head. Women don't have half of a head or half of a brain or 1 eye, you know. And what a man is able to do, a woman is also able to do it. So we should allow the women to thrive. I come from a family of all girls. You know, I'm sure you also
I come from a family of 6 children, but 1 boy and 5 girls.
Yes, so we have taken over.
Yes,
we say,
yeah.
You see, and I thank my parents so much for how they raised us. We were raised as children, and that's that, not girl children.
And then boy child.
Yes, and today my father is a very proud, you know, father, because all his girls have been able to achieve what he hoped that we'll be able to achieve. You know, and so we should give women a chance. And since this is a Christian channel, even the Bible supports women owning property. Yes, there is this story in the Bible where a man died and he had daughters, and the daughters were being deprived. Yes, eventually they were granted, you know, the right to own the father's property. So that should tell you that it is the intention of God that women are able to own property just like men, be able to achieve things in life and all that. Because if a woman is doing well, it is for your good as a man. You know, the woman is in a position that she is able to assist you properly. So why would you not give the girl child or a woman a chance?
Look at the story of Esther. She's the one that caused the breakthrough for her family. She got into the palace, found
and
favor.
Everybody else, and not just her family, everybody else.
Last, she got into the palace, found favor, and then everybody else now began to also reap from her what's it called, her work, or the things that she saw. So it's rather sad that we do that. But you mentioned that regardless of cultural expectations or traditions, we are still under the Constitution, under the law.
Yes, that's the supreme law of the land.
But then would you say that cultural traditions still impacts the rights of widows and children and daughters specifically, even though we know that the Constitution protects us. I want to use a word that I don't think is appropriate, but do you think people get it that all your traditions and everything that you say this is how we do things is not lawful? You know, sometimes they say things like, we are this, we are cans, this is how we do our things. We are guns, we are ewes, we are this. When a man dies, you do. Do you think we've made the awareness? We've sent a message out there, or we've educated people on their rights, that they know that even though traditions exist, it cannot infringe on my rights. I wonder if that education has been done.
Has gone on. Well, some has been done. A lot of education has been done over the years, even with encouraging people to educate their girl children. The fight against female genital mutilation, even this widowhood rights, these witches in the northern part of all those things. But I think that the effort or the outputs has not yielded 100% results.
Okay.
Because most of these things are funded by other organizations, you know, they are non-profit ventures that people and organizations go into. So sometimes without funding, it's difficult to, you know, continue the education. And then there are instances where, yes, the education is out there, but because of how we are socialized as Ghanaians.
I was just about to ask, are women keeping quiet?
Yes, I think a lot of women are too silent.
They are doing famanyame.
Yes, because we also don't want to be known as the wicked witch of Narnia. She is too something. As for this woman, we said it. He shouldn't have married her.
Oh my goodness.
And you see, we don't want to be branded as a difficult, impossible, you know, woman. We are afraid to be alone. We think that if we if we don't toe the line, the family is going to reject us. And when our children grow old and now they want to marry,
they'll reject
no family member will come.
Jackie, they'll still reject you anyway.
You know, there are so many reasons why, you know, and then we also socialize to believe that you do not challenge an adult. So this Ebushua Penny is like 80. Maybe you are 34. You see, if you try to say anything, oh, you are being rebellious and you are insulting, you know, somebody who is old enough to be your father. So all those excesses, you know, have made it very difficult for us to really see a real change. Yes.
So women, you would say women should speak up. Women should go to the right.
Yes, do not, you see, and if you cannot speak for yourself, that is why lawyers are there. For us, it is our job. And so we are trained and equipped to handle such cases. You know, I have faced several Ebushiapenis before who were thrice my age.
And funny enough, when it comes to courts, they are not as bold,
no,
right?
Because you come in the capacity as a lawyer, they must listen to you. They must accord you some level of... So if you are afraid, you think you can't handle it yourself, please get a lawyer, you know, so that the person can speak for you, even if it comes to going to court. That person takes the lead. You stand behind the person, and the person would, you know,
do the work for you.
I
think in situations where women think that they can't stand up to their Ebusiapeni or family heads or in-laws, it would be good for them to get an advocate in the form of a lawyer who would stand for them. So now, speaking in terms of women getting the boldness and the courage to seek the right help, do we have any support group in this country for women that are widowed? Because I feel like when you have a community or a support group that understands, it emboldens you. You see how when you're going through something and you find out that somebody has gone through it and they've come out of it, all of a sudden you also have the feeling that, oh, I can also come out of it. Jackie has done it. She has done it. I can definitely do it. Do we have anything like that in Ghana, a support group that allow women to come, share their stories, and then they find them the right people? Do you know any of it?
Well, we have mostly, it's handled by the NGOs.
Okay.
There are a few NGOs that are focused on women's health, women's rights.
Okay.
And so they would assist you, whatever the situation is, whether it is widowhood issues, or it is rape, or any other, like any issue that the woman faces. There are a few NGOs that, you know, support that.
Right.
And then also, you know, we have a Ministry of Gender in this country. It is their primary role or duty to assist women, you know, in various aspects through ensuring that there are proper legislation that protects women, that there are facilities, you know, safe houses, there are processes that help women heal and overcome traumatic experiences and all that. So I'm sure they also may have you know, some available, let's say, available routes that you can use.
Okay.
Yes, so you can maybe go and see somebody there. Then we also have legal aid, which is general to assist with people who have legal issues but have difficulty in paying. Then FIDA, the Federation of Women Lawyers, they also help and assist, you know, in pro bono cases, advice and all that. So there are, but most of them are NGOs. Most of them are very, you know, small NGOs, like NGOs with small to medium capacities. So maybe that is why we don't really see it out there. Then I think that since we are a very religious country, the churches, the mosque, the various associations in the church, we have our women's groups, we have youth groups, we have young ladies groups, young professionals. All those groups are communities that can help people, that can assist people through education, you know, bringing resource people to speak to them, and then also creating a safe space where people can, you know, come and seek help. Sometimes people are not even able to say everything that they are going through, because maybe the church will think, oh no, but this is a family issue and you have to, no, but we have to create those kind of communities or safe havens for women especially to be able to seek help or get the needed help. So all these things, and even within our communities, we can form those little support groups, even among friends.
True.
You see, women's groups or friendships should not only be about discussing clothes and
going out to go and have a brunch and dinner.
And then, I mean, the extreme, sometimes gossips and all those things that will not bring any benefit. Sometimes you can have a healthy group of friends that sometimes when you meet, you just want to talk about some of these things.
Because the honest truth is we all go through something. Everybody is going through something. Everybody, regardless of how you see them, regardless of how they appear, everybody is going through something. You just do not know. So I think I was going to ask you about the church, so I'm glad that you've covered that as well. But let's talk about emotional and mental health during this period. So imagine you lose your husband. Very, very sad. I can't imagine it. It's my worst fear, if you ask me. It's my worst nightmare. I refuse to think about it because I don't know how you will do it. I don't know how you will get out of it, but people do it. So imagine you lose a husband. That in itself is devastating. It's heartbreaking. And then you lose the home that your children know. There's foundation for your children taking away. You lose properties. Family, family that is supposed to be there, takes your money, spends it, says, you should get out of my house. It looks like you woke up and everything of yours just decided to just crumple and leave you in a mess. How can somebody come out of that situation? Is there even room for healing? Do you even become, somebody will say, correct. Will you be correct again? Like, how will somebody hold themselves and gradually heal, what are some of the practical ways they can do? Because if you ask me, I don't know. I will probably cry till Jesus comes. I don't know what I'll do. I have no idea. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that some of these traumatic experiences are part of life. And they usually happen in different degrees, different forms, at different times.
Yeah.
So even growing up as a child, you can have maybe somebody you consider a best friend not wanting to be friends with you again.
I know,
remember those little things.
And we were in a group. If one person is not talking to you, everybody will
yes, you know, those are some of the little losses.
Yeah.
Maybe you are in a relationship, then your partner says, I don't love you anymore.
It's
I don't
over.
want it. Yes, maybe, you know, you are in your early 20s, then those things happen.
Yeah.
You get disappointments over a lot of things. Maybe you fail your exams.
Yeah.
Maybe some people are even maltreated by their own parents.
Yeah.
All those traumatic experiences are supposed to help us build resilience over time. Over time. So I think that we have to begin with changing our mindsets about how we see some of these trials that we go through.
Okay.
And especially as Christians, we know that trials, although unpleasant and unfortunate, are supposed to help us build that strength. For example, if you pray to God that you want to be strong, God is going to bring trials your way so that when you get out of them, you would have built the strength. It's like somebody who is a stroke patient, or you have a leg injury or something. If you want to be able to heal and be able to stand on your feet again, you go through rehabilitation, physiotherapy, which is most of the time very painful. Doing things that it feels like, you know, that leg, which is already 39, 40, is about to break. But then you are asked to do this, lift this, carry this. Those things are supposed to help your body, you know, build the muscle strength to be able to. That is how we build resilience. So with every little issue, every little setback we go through in life, let us look at the lesson in it and try and draw strength, no matter how unreasonable it may seem.
Yeah. So you losing a husband in itself, when you lose a husband, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how they wake up in the morning. It is a worst fear of mine. I can't imagine it. So you lose a husband, such a huge loss of your entire life. And then now you're losing properties. You're losing your home where you've raised your children, their foundation. You don't know what you're doing with yourself. The only stability that children probably have is the familiarity of their home, of their school, of family, of church. And they're losing that as well. To them, it won't feel like they just lost a dad. It'll feel like they lost their entire life. How can somebody get out of that? How can they even decide that I am going to take steps to heal? And when they do, how do they take the right steps? How do they heal well? Because I'm looking at this story. Her family was not great. His family is not great. The only thing she has is herself, God, and her children. How can she heal and heal properly? Because there's healing where there's a form of healing where you think you've healed and you are bitter throughout your life. All the advice you give to people is out of bitterness. Everything you say is with human beings are evil. You haven't healed well. How can she heal and heal properly?
Okay. I think that the first thing that we all have to accept or realize is that these traumatic experiences are part of life. There are ups and downs. And so we have to make an effort to build resilience from some of the small incidences of disappointment and heartbreaks that we go through in life as we go, to prepare us for bigger traumatic experiences like the death of a spouse. So our mentality, how we view the downs of our lives should change. So whatever you go through, even as a child, losing friendships, etc., you should always try and have it in mind that it is part of the building blocks, okay, you know, to attaining resilience. And so once we are able to look at things that way, even if it doesn't make sense, we can acknowledge that, okay, there is an end to this thing that I am going through. Is to build me to be able to face other issues better in life. So we have to, you know, consciously, this has to be a conscious effort that we have to try and, you know, make. And then also, we should remember that grief has stages, especially when it comes to death. So she should first understand and accept that it's going to take you time. When we say time heals wounds,
it does.
It is only because there are stages. You know, there will be a time when you are in denial, then you are angry, then now you get to really face it and feel the pain and then grow through it. That is why it's not good when they tell the widows, oh, don't cry at the funeral. Allow the person to grieve and go through that whole process. So we should understand that this is going to take time. So let me give myself time and grace and go through all the emotions so that you don't put a band-aid on the sore, as you said, and then you become, you know, an angry person. The least thing you are, you know, angry and all that. And then also we should know that as human beings, our fellow human beings would not always be there for us when we want them to be and in the manner that we desire them to be. Humans are fallible people, and because of that, they are going to fail us. People are going to disappoint you. And so you need somebody stronger, and that is where the God factor comes in. If you are a Christian, you know that even if everybody deserts you, God would always be there for you. And so you should build a good relationship with your God. If you are a Muslim, build a good relationship with, you know, your God. Find something to believe in bigger and to lean on, which is bigger and, you know, better than human flesh. And so when you do that, when you have God, you would go through the issues, but the words of God comforts you, reassures you that you are not alone. So these are some of the things that she can put in place, or we have to put in place to ensure that, yes, we are able to sail through such issues. And then in her her letter, she said she's seeking justice. It means that that is something that, like, her soul is craving. She feels that if she gets that, it will help and alleviate the pain and make the process easier. So once you recognize that that is something that you need, make sure you go for that and then work at getting that. Because once she gets justice, she's going to breathe a sigh of relief.
At least the home will be there for her children. She doesn't have to think of how
she doesn't have to all over again, and the memories in the house are going to be intact, because memories are also important when you are healing from grief.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I would have to say a big thank you to you for coming, for talking about this story, giving us the legal perspective, the emotional parts. And I think if the woman is listening, hopefully she's listening, she has learned a lot, and she will know how to move forward from henceforth. So thank you so much for coming, Jackie Asante Mensah. She's a lawyer. And if you want to reach out to us with a question or even to speak to a lawyer, the number is 0559 680066. You'll be able to talk to me or her, or any of the crew at Hope TV can get you through to her. And even if it's a text message, you can send it to this same number and she will get it. Thank you so much for coming into the studio.
Thank you for having me.
It was very lovely to have you once again. And to the woman that sent her story, it is a very sad one. Healing is not linear. It's not a straight line. Some days will be good, some days will be bad. It will take, in a year, you have good days, and even in 5 years to come, you have bad days. But know that with God, everything is possible. Know that with God, you find comfort. And your life will never be the same again. That is the honest truth, because you've lost something very, very great. But then again, your life can improve in ways that you didn't think of, in ways that you didn't even expect. And to the family of this woman, both her brother and her husband's family, you guys should do better. You guys should do better. Death can happen to anybody at all. And when you find someone who is grieving and you decide to be your wicked self, that is very telling of who you are as a human. Trust me, God is not happy with you. You go to sit in church every Saturday, every Sunday, and this is who you are. Shame on you. We'll be back same time next week with another episode of Real Talk. But until then, continue to enjoy the rest of the content on Hope TV Ghana. My name is Evie, and I did this with Jackie. We'll be back same time next week with another episode of Real Talk, where we share only educative, inspirational, and entertaining stories. This is Real Talk. Have yourselves a lovely evening.